Hi everyone, my name is Louis Perreault. I'm talking to you from this wooden lot situated in Sainte-Hélène-de-Chester. It's a village in the center of Quebec. I used to come here when I was very young, when I was a kid, and now I'm an adult and I still come here. I have a small cabin in the forest and I come here to make a lot of my work. I've documented the changes of nature here. I've sort of explore my own relationship with nature through this place. And now that I'm a father of two, I see my sons going through the same process of experiencing nature in their games and then the moment of exploration that they have in this place. A few years ago, I realized that it was a very important moment for them, so I decided to make a work that would express or explore this relationship that is growing between them and the place. And Les Affluents, which is the work that is presented in the magazine, is based on that sort of immediate and personal and intimate response to their actions that I've documented in the place. To me, space and place are two very important notions for my work. I believe that, I perceive space or place as a giving space a qualitative dimension, because place is being built around our experiences, is being built through our souvenirs and memoirs. And so I would say I explore space through the place I visit. So I hope it resonates with your work if you're one of the writers, or it resonates with you if you're a reader. I say goodbye to all of you, and I hope you have a great evening. Bye.
This is Emily Osborne, reading my poem End Replication Problem. Thin caps bandage our DNA, this morning's news explains. Chromosomes only replicate in the middle. With each division, telomeres shrivel until the unclothed genome dies. It's before 7, and I'm unsettled by the end replication problem. At the molecular level, stress shortens lifespan. A tough job claws at our nucleotides' fine gauze. Even sitting too long wears down this cushion. You've been at work since dawn. Shoulders hunched toward attrition, cortisol rippling in analog waves. The antidote is a Band-Aid hour. Walk at lunch, get sun, eat greens that won't raise insulin. Your break lasts 30 minutes, darting through downpour for a wilted sandwich in plastic adhesive to devour at the office, waiting at traffic corners for electric men to flip to ticking hands, the membrane of your umbrella shielding you from drizzle, its tissue puckering in the dash to beat zeros. At your door, spokes resist closing, metal elbows now decrepit, knocking seconds off schedules. This is your remedy, what you clutch adrenal from deadlines shredding the day. My love, how will these pinched minutes delay the ends unfastening? Your hour is not a crutch, prolonging life's reach, its final split and hobble. It's where you break apart from nothing much.
Cold War Wash Day. When we integrated under the curve and the fuel ignited, when push came to rubber glove, and in all the kitchens food fell from plates, we leapt into our holes and made tracks, one small, one just right. One side makes you human. One side wakes you. One side makes you see stars. When we pulled out all our handkerchiefs, chain rule, integration by parts, Bessel functions, and approximation by infinite series near a point, the gap dilated, and everywhere we walked in new-bought shoes. Here 1 centimeter, 0.5, there a squeak, a prize blister, a glow. The lint detached itself from our jackets, and we paraded before our own discarded fluff. We shed and were proud. Never have the oven and the dryer stood so square, nor their dials counted further down.
I'm Norah Drukker, and this poem is called Caesura. Montreal, April 2020. Caesura. Windowless, the rain mourns. Black cabs on the highway speed by, empty buses, passengers thinned like weeds. No one stops speaking into tunnels of phones, searching voices for faces. Wind gleans the alleyways, recycling. Joggers jog in place. Gloves discarded fall like broken geese home on their journey this spring, but the season is off. We are waiting for a sign, hands tied, touching faces with sleeves. Downtown, the buildings rise deserted, white tombs, cell blocks. Some lean into their love, stare into the eye's great plain, and wonder. Some take quiet sips of air, stillness fallen on rage. Some wander the streets, bewildered, everyone shuttling by, nothing to eat, no one to ask. Pigeons fly in a circle on St. Viator land. The geese are coming home, sun warming the earth. We are sheltering this spring, Caesura, circling each other warily, trying to settle somewhere, trying to land more softly.
Transplant of Marrow. Your cruel April begins in the dark, where there is still dark to these ends of days. Still a blue evening, somewhere lilacs still roosting, with nesting creatures and dishes resting in racks to dry. Your dead-to-life April will last for the duration of spring burgeoning. Am I up to this task? Can there be sufficient pauses between synaptic links, torpedoes over the corpus callosum, sufficient space between there and beyond to hold up my half? Let the month, the open mouth, do its work. Your lips grim, and I will do mine. Of course she left no carbon footprints. Her feet were made of lead. The lead barricade shielding her chest from dental x-rays caught decay in rear molars, suspicion of further erosion of gums and the last teeth to cut. But shields can only shield so much. Her heart beneath her chest knew the lead from early on. knew where it originated, where the dumb barrier discovered its ground. The gamma pulses pierced anyway. She stored the messages as data. To see her as a pioneer of ecological promise was a system error. Carbon no longer, now. She feasts with the silicon gossips that surround her encampment, circling the wagons, so to speak.
Four on the floor. You tell me you like house music, how the synthesized thumps traverse your veins, hippocampus. So you are 20 again, the exotic American dancing with strangers and pint glasses at La Beat Route. Then there is the music of house, the fridge's decade-old respirations, unsettled, foundation cracks, the AC's throbbings, constant, desperate, unsyncopated. They make me think of Jodie Foster lying in a New Mexican array, that movie scene where concussive transmissions arouse her to finger her headphones to reaffirm space. I think about space too, all kinds, nebulas, mileage, caesuras, naked fingers, the gap my night brace never fixed, how you space yourself when you tell a story, your space so close our shoulders fuse as you shift from heel to heel, trying to meet my steady beat until you back into the blocks, the no loitering signs between our houses, leaving me to listen to your absence and the spaces between my breaths.
Residence. She grew up in a city 700 years old, carrying bells in the Basilica Tower, reliquary beneath the altar, but a schoolgirl at the Lyceum when the invading tanks rolled into the center of town, trailing daffodils. But she embroidered the signatures of liberating soldiers on a green silk scarf one of the troops had given her, became a maternity ward nurse, found my father or he found her, and followed him overseas to marry, for 50 years her man beside her, and 10 more alone. Then we moved her into a residence, away from the family home. Her thoughts stray across the ocean to that city in that time. Everyone knew my father, the pharmacist. We were the kids from the pharmacy. During the war, she rode her bike through the fields, no light under cover of darkness. The local farmers paid her father in kind, milk for medicines. The day of the armistice, he was in the street pouring gin for his fellow citizens. This man who read Bible daily to his household. We drove by the other day. Drove by where? Not possibly her native town. Did she mean the house, the hearth of marriage she has not seen since she moved into this tower? And who'd have been driving? Keep her away, they said. Spare her the confusion of returning to empty rooms. But she was of sound mind, they'd said, when she signed her new lease. The house, now another's, she bathed from inside out, cleaned every corner, filled every shelf, did what every parish mother did, feed and clothe the kids, give them direction. My father poured concrete, made a path to the street. He reshingled the roof. He furnished the house with his own handmade furniture for her. She sits among her heirlooms on the couch she made with Dad. He the frame, she the cushions. There she used to knit. Too hard on her fingers now, and so FM classical softly played while my father the daily crosswords solved. A jigsaw puzzle's just begun on the dinner table at which I grew. She takes her meals and her society in the spacious dining room below. Her breakfast she eats standing in her narrow kitchen. Occasionally she makes tea. She still reads books of popular fiction, picks them up, puts them down. They were once like chocolates held long on the tongue, read in hours found or afforded around those accorded to errands and chores, to appointments and the managing of household accounts, to looking after and doing for. The last of my line, she says, for not the first time. She looks into the flat-roofed distance. She used to lay her hand upon the open page and look out over the yard, boxwood, cedars, maple trees, her hand smoothing the page, red-winged blackbirds, seasonal sundowns, sometimes a crimson cardinal, familiar folk returning home from work. Soon it'd be time to cook. My father would in due course set down, newspaper and pen, and rise to set the table. On her couch, each afternoon she naps, FM classical softly playing. No longer bothers to remove her shoes, a throw pillow beneath her head, eyes closed, eyes of blue. The vital roar of her past crashes on her heels and back.
Hi, I'm Emily Chou and this is Sweetly. Am I wrong to miss it sometimes? Wrong to miss the midnight ovens glowing hot with bread, narrow cobblestone wound tight, towers cut from other towers, wandering through pastel hills just past 7, being taken out and ordered for, crying on the bed every other week. Can't say I've ever been a head turner. Am I a hypocrite for liking it a little? Can't say I ever called home often. Can't say I ever called it home or tried. Can't say I miss flinching at the doorbell, mouth gaping like a fish at a market stall. One of those good foreigners who comes but doesn't stay somehow. I do miss it. Miss missing late trains, eating pastries by the river, miss being so lonely, miss not understanding all those sneers and whispers sliding up my thigh.
Hi, I'm Greg Santos, and the poem I'm going to read is called The Ruins. The town had changed. The barns and sheds were gone, replaced with new, wilted-looking monuments to the old days. They kept driving on and on and on until the sun had reduced their homes to dust. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Cameron Gray, and I will be reading my poem A Day of Nothing in the Multiverse from my shower. What comes next doesn't really matter. A stripe of light, watered down, the television, a parliament of owls to wind me up, set the tension on an internal spring. Considering this, definitions are softening. What is the world if not an arctic of sound, a bowl of seeds, a room of cuckoo clocks? As though the rain on the concrete is not rain, and there is no concrete. It is inside or outside. It is a sky bluing or a platelet whitening. How the air bends and light slows down to size up each particle it encounters as a potential dance partner, to samba for a moment that is forever, or only a fractal second, or never at all. Thanks.
Listening to the Moon Men. The message is varied. Our solve solution boosters are clear. Send, sent, a message or emissary, a line, an aisle, rocks on the path late, facing men, meant, meat or manufactured for cable and wireless limited. Probably find some more fucking fun under or under or on a rock not evaluated. Data deficient. Radio-controlled cameras can film a tennis ball 5 miles away, or thereabouts. Comb the airwaves, track the snark among the maidenhair. Scrape, scrape, the missing moss. Men can listen listlessly to the moon and define culture medium. I hear them say it's all hearsay now, the big missile's on its way, which can almost think since it's terra firm past the, don't you know, it writes itself, anagrammica ascensionis. As I say, not all of these were present concurrently. Each island base is a mini Cape Canaveral. I'm skewering healthier, but quite singularly. The climate is conducive. There's a shadow on the commercial. The future's not now, it's ablated.
Predictive messaging, concussion 22 for K. Injured, I became inured. Silent replies to you seem fine. Text, unpunctuated. Blank space at the end.
You seem fine.
The bones. The maze of bones sutured by the dark hall of the glass frame. Currents shock the wish, the fluorescence. Pour a glass of God, drown eternity in your throat, and feel as it disappears, as it rushes through you into the brittle of your fingernail. Then dream of moonrise, of the pool lit by space, of the planets circling the trees, their leaves erupting into nothing, downpour scythe breeze, highway sprinkled with light, your body being there, really, really being there.
Unhappiness. I am Mama's eyes. Grey-black, glossy, distant eyes that belong somewhere else, in someone else's face. Walking places I can never learn the names of. Places I will never visit. Freedoms that could have been mine in another lifetime. She is scattered always, anywhere but here. Her life is an injustice. How can I correct it? Where do I begin? Which corner do I grab when I too am anywhere but here? I too run off to places. I attend a million funerals every day. I crunch broken glass between my teeth and wonder why the bleeding doesn't stop. Is this what unhappiness looks like? A woman who's always scattered like chaff from sifted wheat, like dust particles hovering, like a million drops of perfume.
Hydrogen and helium. From the window of a taxicab, gazing heavenwards, I wonder at spectral hydrogen clouds, collapsing and condensing, exploding into violent starlight. And I ask as I look at the darkest night, when was it ever a human right to burst forth foolishly, seizing the night with pathetic displays of these passing streetlights? I don't know. While above and always, elemental filaments of vapor and dust erupt into vicious flame and, knowing nothing of night, burn endlessly, populating blackest skies, immeasurable stretches of the vast void with fiery insistence. Meanwhile, neon lights flicker through mist and rain as headlights streak past reflected in swollen gutters, as streetlights sputter, embarrassed by the flaming hydrogen and helium, so far away, so superior. The evening continues.
Hi, my name is Kate Braid, and this is How I'll Know. In winter, I'll know by the harsh call of raven, and in spring by blossom. In summer, a warm wind will wash like a bath, sweetening, and in autumn, the squelch of wet garden as it rests. Always this knowing, body deep of a particular earth beneath my feet, solid silence of green. The odd rooster call to remind me. Every time I'll know.
A dozen morning translations. When I talk again about Voyager 1 out there beyond the heliosphere, what I really mean is that none of us recalls the birth canal. And when I show you this photo of my favorite painting made in Paris with palette knives in 1954, I'm giving you my boyhood's village springs. Every novelist's demilitarized zone wants a good coconut beach. The robins eating winter sumac mean the oceans are deeper than we think. So when I tell you the ladder's too short to clean out the eaves troughs, what I'm really saying is that the ladder's too damned short to clean out the stupid eaves troughs. What I'm really saying is that bankers still scavenge everybody's breadcrumbs. The baseball at the height of its arc in the outfield by the ears of corn is every lost October leaf pile. The bookmarks strewn across our desktops mean we've forgotten our grandmother's birthdays, and our once-read grad school textbooks will never be the last ship out of Saigon. Let's refocus our blue box cylinders. There are still, right here, green points in our gardens pushing up against 3 inches of April ice. The chorus in your favorite song is next year's coiled calendar. So, when I tell you again about Voyager 1, shutting down its systems, measuring interstellar gamma rays, what I really mean is that none of our kids can ever be shielded from even a single solar flare.
Into the park. Into the park in late summer on your bike, the sudden cool of trees and shade, the breeze down the front of your shirt cool against your chest, linen billowing, a frisson tingling your nipples as the afternoon heat lingering on the grass starts to retreat. The bike whirs and into the park you go deeper. This is your park. You know its groves, its benches, its 3-story trees, the depressions where rain gathers and puddles freeze. And it changes every time you come. That's why you come, the anticipation. You don't know what you'll find here as the shadows grow in the bushes, or who you'll meet at the bench, someone you know, or someone new, or someone you knew a long time ago, now with eyes that have seen so much more, and lines in his face or hers. And deeper you go, and further back, no idea what you'll say when you meet or do, what new arrangements, what conspiracies you'll fall into, what raw truths, what entanglements, what dangers.
Three men, 4 men, atop the row house opposite. From up there, you can see probably all of Mount Pleasant. Early March, the sun, the street lights, the people, the afternoon men playing checkers on a trash can, drinking coffee and eating 7-Eleven croissants. The Green Pilgrim with book and horse, Raphet of the Ong Road. 3 towers on 3 corners at God and 16th, south to downtown in the still icy Potomac. And further south, another brother awaits his firstborn. And further still, my father, snowy mustache security badge, celebrates his 71st birthday. Further south, there are roads, and a border and a desert and roads. A forest, a gap, more forest, and rose to an ocean. And then the icy extreme of the southern pole. A rock suspended, delicate in directionless, limitless, timeless space. If those guys on the roof of the row house opposite take a break, take a minute, look south at the sun and Mount Pleasant, does the view from the roof on a Monday in March stir the cells of their unknowable individual, private universes, or right now? Are they just worried about the roof, re-roofing the roof, finishing the roof so they can pack up and go home?
Aubade, an airport and the seas. I reach for you, as though for the mugicha we drank at a seashore tea house in Kamakura, while you sit on a metal bench, losing your voice in separate spaces. With a brown hand, a border agent tugs the pen holder with a tarsier perch on a palm tree from your suitcase. Didn't you know? You're not allowed. Unaware, I bought it for you in Bohol, on a low-tide sandbar, where we tasted salty sea urchins from spiny shells, cracked in half by a sunned boy who seemed to emerge straight from the sea, reminding you of a folk tale about a young fisherman and a sea turtle. As fractures mature us, I wish for waves to come crashing at the airport, to submerge and claim us, Another border agent who could have been. Your sister tells us you need to leave, that you have no right to be here. Go back to the land of daybreak, across the seas where we were born without me.